I'm Russ Mitchell. Showdown on Iraq. Congressional Democrats prepare to force another vote on bringing the troops home. Water worries in the drought-stricken West. Why more and more gardeners are turning to less thirsty plants. And another time, a successful new author told the story of his life at age 96.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
And good evening. With congressional Democrats primed to renew the Iraq debate this week, events in Iraq today are likely to add more fuel to the fire. Here's the latest. A string of bombings across Iraq killed at least 60 people today. Officials also raised the death toll from yesterday's truck bomb explosion north of Baghdad to more than 150. And military officials announced the deaths of 2 U.S. soldiers, one north of Baghdad, the other near the capital. And on the political battlefront, the White House is bracing for a couple of tough weeks ahead. Opponents of the war plan to push forward a bill to get American troops out of Iraq. And almost every day, the list of lawmakers supporting that legislation continues to grow. Joey Chen has more from Capitol Hill.
The holiday's over, but the president faces more fireworks over the war in Iraq from within his own party. New Mexico Senator Pete Domenici became the latest to declare his independence from Mr. Bush's stay-the-course approach.
We need a new strategy for Iraq that forces the Iraqi government to do more or else.
It was a surprisingly public defection of a key and usually loyal White House ally, underscoring both growing public opposition to the war and Mr. Bush's decreasing ability to keep Republicans in line.
I think everybody realizes now Bush is, it's beyond a political free fall. He politically free fell already.
In the last 2 weeks, sharp critiques have come from Virginia Senator John Warner, Ohio's George Voinovich, and Indiana Senator Richard Lugar, once a strong supporter of Mr. Bush's troop surge.
Our course in Iraq has lost contact with our vital national security interests in the Middle East and beyond.
Lugar now insists his comments were less of a break with the president than an attempt to encourage him to seek a new course ahead of this week's debate over Pentagon funding. But another key Republican offered a blunt warning.
I think the Congress will change direction if the president doesn't. And I think the president has about 90 days to do that.
Over the next 2 weeks, the Senate will see a raft of bills from Democrats aimed at forcing Mr. Bush toward a troop withdrawal. But Republicans caught in the middle still hope the president will make the first move.
Republicans are still waiting for the president to change policies, to announce publicly that the surge isn't working and that the administration is going to change things. And the president doesn't seem inclined to go there yet.
Senate Democrats are going to be talking about big change, but even these so-called defectors aren't interested in things like timetables or funding cutoffs. And without them, Russ, it's going to be awfully hard to evade a presidential veto.
Joey, let me ask you, have those Republicans given any indication of what they would support?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about the Iraq Study Group proposals, the Baker-Hamilton Commission. Essentially, that would mean shifting some of the U.S. forces' roles and talking about a pullout date in 2008. But a lot of Democrats have already rejected that. They say it doesn't get the troops out of harm's way fast enough, Russ.
Joey Chen on Capitol Hill, thank you very much. And as Joey just told us, 5 high-profile Republican senators have broken with White House Iraq policy over the past few days. And there are reports that 9 more may be thinking of bolting as well. Earlier today, I spoke with Democratic Senator Charles Schumer of New York, and I asked him how likely is it that there will be a vote on a troop withdrawal resolution.
Well, it's going to take a while to get to the 67 that we need to overcome a veto. I think we'll eventually get there, probably in the fall. But our first threshold is 60 votes, because that'll allow a debate and a vote and would then force the president to veto it. And I think that we're getting closer and closer.
Senator, when would you like to see American troops out of Iraq?
Well, I think that the proposals that we are making, which says begin the withdrawal within 90 days and have them out by March 31st, with the exception of a small force to focus on counterterrorism in case al-Qaeda sets up camps in Iraq, makes the most sense.
Senator, the White House, of course, has been opposed to any type of troop withdrawal timetable, saying essentially, how do you, on the one hand, say that this thing isn't working in Iraq, and at the same time say to our men and women who are serving there that, hey, we support you? What's the answer to that?
Well, we're going to support them in every way with the equipment, the armaments, and everything else that they need. That's been our watchword. And in fact, We've put more money to support the troops in terms of the body armor and the things they need than the president had requested. But at the same time, when you talk to troops over there, whether they be newly minted privates or 1- or 2-star generals, they all know it's not working. So many of them tell us that. And so they want a change in strategy as much as the American people do, because what we're doing is obviously not working.
Senator Charles Schumer of New York, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Russ. Nice to talk to you.
Here at home, wildfires are burning across the West from California to South Dakota. Jennifer Stagg of CBS affiliate KUTV is watching a huge fire in Cove Fort, Utah tonight. Hey, Jen, what's the latest?
Hi, Russ. I'm standing in Cove Fort, like you said, which is just right off of I-15. The fire has actually already swept through here and done quite a bit of damage. One of the things that's making this massive fire so difficult to fight are these dry grasses. Utah is just covered with these dry grasses right now because we haven't received rain in most of the state of Utah in nearly a month. I-15 was closed, which is a major freeway that goes north to south. There were literally people in their cars that left their cars and had to go running for their lives. They're warning people. Officials are saying if you are going to drive along that stretch of freeway, be extremely careful because we're expecting a cold front that is going to shift the winds and possibly send it right back over the freeway. So they're expecting 500 more firefighters today to come help fight this fire. They're from all over the country. And again, they're just warning people, be safe out there if you are going to travel. Russ.
Jennifer Stagg of KUTV, you be safe as well. Thank you. The scorching heat that's fueling those wildfires is holding on in the west and spreading to the rest of the country. Temperatures in the triple digits and high 90s were common not only in the western states, but in the northeast and south. Even hotter weather is forecast for tomorrow. And that is more bad news for major cities dealing with low water levels and dry conditions. Sandra Hughes reports from Los Angeles on Summer in the City 2007.
Robin Bradford's lush green plants and yard made it through this week's West Coast heat wave because way ahead of calls for voluntary water reduction, Bradford landscaped with drought-tolerant plants.
Water's a resource, and so I like to keep everything healthy, but not have plants that demand, more water than I use in my shower.
LA is on track to be the driest it's been since 1877, the first year officials started keeping records. From last July to now, the city has had only 3 inches of rain, when 12 inches is what's normal. Many cities across the region, from San Francisco to Salt Lake, have asked residents to voluntarily conserve water. Mandatory restrictions may follow because water is a precious commodity.
There are alternatives to oil. There is no alternative to water. That in and of itself makes it priceless.
Still, officials here say they're not at a crisis point yet.
Even though we've had the driest year on record this year, we had the wettest year on record last year.
That's because LA's water doesn't come from LA rain. It comes from Northern California, where the snowpack was 145% above normal last year. But this year, the snowpack is 20% below average. Angelenos are starting to adapt.
There seems to be a lot more interest in drought-tolerant plants that are more adapted to our climate and don't need nearly as much supplemental irrigation.
In a city where many have switched from Hummers to hybrids, people are looking at their gardens, too.
It definitely has to do a lot with how environmentally conscious a lot of people like to be. It's LA, it's all about image.
An image that Robin Bradford has managed to cultivate while remembering she lives in a city that blooms out of a desert. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And now to a hot new airplane that is making a dream come true for the Boeing company. The jet made its debut today, and as Randall Pinkston tells us, the company says it's good news for the ground and the air.
The plane isn't ready to fly yet, but Boeing couldn't resist using today's date, 787, to roll out its newest jet, the Dreamliner 787.
They haven't even built their first one yet in production, and they've had over 600 orders. This will be an incredible moneymaker for Boeing for years to come.
It's the fastest-selling commercial jetliner in history. So far, Boeing has orders for 677 of the new planes from 47 airline customers, raking in more than $100 billion in sales. Wall Street has taken note. From the time the project was announced in 2003, Boeing's stock has more than doubled. One of the aircraft's top selling points, 20% better fuel economy than similar planes. The savings come from the 787's much lighter fuselage, constructed with carbon fiber composite materials instead of metal.
And anytime you can cut down on weight, you can also cut down on the amount of jet fuel that it takes to fly you from point A to point B.
Boeing's success is bad news for European rival Airbus, which is having trouble selling its A380 model because of production delays.
The 787 is also good news for related manufacturing businesses, not only near Boeing's assembly plants in Washington State, but in locations around the world that build various parts for the Dreamliner. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, is controversial Iraqi politician Ahmed Chalabi making a comeback? Our chief foreign correspondent Lara Logan reported last night that Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki could face a vote of no confidence next week. Tonight, Lara tells us about the remarkable comeback of a power behind the scenes in Iraqi politics.
Behind these armed guards is one of the best-kept secrets of the Baghdad security plan. Ahmed Chalabi, the one-time U.S. darling who fell from grace, is back. Now the official face of the latest effort to restore order to Iraq's capital. He's tasked with getting Baghdad's residents on board. A gigantic task, as we saw at one of his many meetings with troubled local leaders. One of his challenges is he's selling a plan that's being carried out by Iraqi security forces, who even he admits are part of the problem.
There are, of course, abuses. We are highlighting those abuses right away at the highest level. And there is a response. We are trying to get information about detainees to their families after they were detained, so that they don't feel that they are being taken away into a black hole.
Chalabi's other battle, how to deal with the man many in Baghdad fear most, anti-American cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. This leader warns Chalabi that unless Muqtada's militia has agreed, it's not safe for Sunni families that fled his neighborhood to come back. But Chalabi assures the man, we have a deal with him. And given that he and Sadr are political allies, right now he's probably better placed than anyone to offer that assurance. Who's the most powerful politician in Iraq today?
Clearly, the prime minister is supposed to be most powerful, but there are issues on the street. Muqtada al-Sadr has massive popular support in the country.
Popular support that Chalabi says the Iraqi government has lost amongst those who voted for it.
They are unhappy with the parliament, and they expect action from the government and the parliament to improve their situation.
Especially their security situation. So bad still that Chalabi can't move without a traveling pack of armed guards. Exactly how much power he now has is still unclear, but in his new role as man of the people, even Chalabi's critics admit there's no telling how far he may go. Lara Logan, CBS News, Baghdad.
In Pakistan, officials gave a, quote, last warning to a radical cleric and students holed up at a mosque. Hundreds of students have surrendered, but it is not known how many are left. At least 24 people have been killed, but the militants say the toll is higher. Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, meet the author, a literary sensation at age 96. Despite a long career reading movie scripts and writing for magazines, Harry Bernstein was never a literary success. Now he recently published a book at the age of 96, written in an effort to forget his grief over the death of his wife. And that's tonight's Sunday cover, a bittersweet memoir of another place and another time. The story is set in Stockport, a mill town in northern England before the First World War. It chronicles Harry Bernstein's life until he left for America with his family at the age of 12.
A lot of people have questioned whether a 4 or 5-year-old child could retain so much of his past, but I did.
Bernstein was one of 7 children. His mother could barely make ends meet, so she began to pick up discarded fruit from the market to sell from her home.
And then put them in the window with a sign for sale. I think it saved our lives, too.
The book's title, The Invisible Wall, refers to the street where Bernstein grew up. His side was Jewish, the other side, Christian.
There was bigotry on both sides.
In the book, Bernstein captures the moment when his mother discovered his sister Lily was seeing a Christian boy from across the street.
I don't want to hear his name in this house again. Why, Lily asked. What difference does it make if he's a Christian? Then my mother slapped her face, and Lily ran upstairs crying.
Later, the family was able to move to America, his mother's dream. Bernstein's first impression of the new country was not encouraging. The view from his apartment was of an alley lined with garbage cans.
And on one of them was a big rat feeding.
But life improved. 12 years later, in 1934, Bernstein met a girl called Ruby at a dance in Brooklyn.
Now, the expression love at first sight is very trite, but it was true in that night.
They were together for 67 years. Her death 5 years ago prompted Bernstein to write the book, to take his mind off his grief.
When we first got married, she didn't want me to get a job. She wanted me to go on writing, and she'd support me. Whatever I wrote, I thought of her.
Harry Bernstein is now 97, and he just finished another book, all about his early years in America. We'll be back. And that's the CBS Evening News. Later on CBS 60 Minutes, could Medicare someday bankrupt the Treasury? Thanks for joining us this Sunday evening. I'm Russ Mitchell, CBS News in New York. I'll see you again first thing tomorrow on The Early Show. Good night.
CBS News. See it now, anytime, anywhere.